When the American Civil War ended, the country had this huge job ahead of it. I mean, it wasn't just about rebuilding cities and farms, it was about redefining what America even was. And right at the heart of all that were three huge changes to the Constitution. Three amendments that made this incredible promise of freedom and equality. So let's dive into one of the most pivotal moments in American history.
So, this is the big question we're really going to wrestle with. What actually happens when a whole nation makes a promise like that? This isn't just a history lesson, you know? It gets to the heart of what laws can do, how society works, and what it really takes to live up to our biggest ideas. This one question, it sets the stage for everything that follows. All right, so the first part of our story starts with this massive effort to build something completely new. The Reconstruction Amendments, they weren't just little fixes or tweaks to the system. No, this was a radical, bold attempt to lay a totally new foundation for American society, one that was way more inclusive. And this new foundation, it was built on four really powerful pillars. First up, you have the 13th Amendment, which finally, officially abolished slavery. Then, the 14th Amendment came in and did two huge things. It defined citizenship for everyone born or naturalized here, and it guaranteed that no state could deny anyone due process or the equal protection of the laws. And to cap it off, the 15th Amendment was designed to stop anyone from being denied the right to vote because of their race. I mean, each one of these was absolutely revolutionary. You know, of all the powerful words written during this time, these few from the 14th Amendment, they might just be the most important. This is it. This is the core of the whole promise, that the law is supposed to protect every single person equally. This one little clause would become the legal bedrock for civil rights battles for the next century and a half. It set a goal for the nation that was just crystal clear.
But, as we all know, making a promise is one thing. Actually keeping it, that's a whole different story. So let's shift gears and look at how this incredible vision of equality crashed right into a harsh and very resistant reality.
It's a really blunt way to put it, but honestly, it's the simple truth. Even with the full power of the Constitution behind them, these new amendments didn't just magically create equality overnight. In fact, that promise was actively, systematically, and deliberately broken for almost 100 years. And this is how they did it. The main weapon used to fight back against these amendments was something called Jim Crow laws. And we need to be clear, these weren't just, social habits. These were actual state and local laws written specifically to enforce racial segregation and to strip African Americans of the very rights the amendments were meant to guarantee.
And this just lays it all out. The contrast is just staggering. You have the promise of universal citizenship, but the reality was segregation. The promise of equal protection under the law, but the reality was a constant denial of basic rights. The promise of the right to vote, but the reality was things like poll taxes, literacy tests, and just outright violence to keep people from the ballot box. The gap was enormous.
Now, it would be so easy to just end the story right there and call it a failure. But if we did that, we'd be missing the most important part of the story. Because these amendments, even though the promise was deferred, it was never, ever defeated. Their true legacy is one of incredible resilience and of providing a foundation for the struggles that were yet to come.
Think about it like this. Step 1, the foundation gets laid with the Reconstruction Amendments. Okay, so it got buried for a while, but the foundation itself was still there, solid. Then, step 2, almost a century later, the civil rights movement comes along and basically unearths that foundation. They use the 14th and 15th Amendments as their legal ammunition to start tearing down Jim Crow. And then step 3, that fight is still going on today as those same protections are now used to fight for the rights of all kinds of other groups.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This whole story is kind of like the story of America in a nutshell. This constant tug of war between its highest ideals and its often very difficult, messy reality. The promise of the Reconstruction Amendments was made, it was tragically deferred, but it was never, ever forgotten.
So, we end right back where we started, with a question. Because this history, it isn't locked in the past. It's a living, breathing challenge for every single one of us. It makes us ask ourselves, what's our part in all this? How do we make sure that our society's greatest promises aren't just words on old paper, but a lived reality for everyone?